Okay, so
Sir, may I add some two
please,
points
please, please,
about
please,
last
please,
topics?
please, please.
Sir, some days ago in my training, one of my teacher just invented apps which is called augmented reality or virtual reality. May you know about this?
Okay,
When you go to in the cinemas, we were watching 3D movies.
I
So
see.
this 3D movie is called virtual reality. That it goes you from the artificial world. It
Okay,
takes you from the it takes you to artificial world, and augmented reality take the artificial world in reality or in real thing. Like when kids take a picture on the if your mobile camera is on and your apps is on, then you can put on the mobile on the animals picture, and it shows the animals is roaming or animals is walking or uh, other things. So it's called augmented reality, and it's a
augmented
great
reality.
tabs for the kids to learning lots of things.
I see. Okay. So
So these
it
are
seems that
Bangladeshi apps, not
you're you're
not abroad.
you're probably enjoying your subject because you can do all this programming
Yes, sir. Of
and
course,
you're learning.
programming is the main things of
Okay, okay,
our
fine, fine.
subject.
Okay, guys. Now we'll stop here for the speaking section, and we'll move on to a reading section. Huh? Let's cover what we have for today. We're going to check out our reading. Reading. Okay. So, is reading easy or difficult? What do you think? In reading,
So it is the most difficult part of IELTS, I think.
you think. Okay, so speaking is more controlled. Huh? Unless you mess up in a big way, I think it works. But in reading, you sometimes you never know. You might mess up in a big way. So okay, so what we're going to do, we are going to do. We're going to do. Let's cover this one today. Huh? We're going to do. This, just a moment. Sorry. So this is today we are going to cover this one. This is research using twins, and this is a passage. This is a passage from Cambridge Book 11 Test 4. Research using twins, and this is the second, not second. Sorry. Okay, this one, and then this is second page, and this is the true false not given. True false not given, and we also have a list of researchers, the name of the researchers, and this is what this is a summary. So how do you go about doing this one? What could be the easiest way? What could be the easiest way? Okay, I will personally suggest this is the way I usually do that. I think it helps me. So I don't know about others. So what I personally do, I just always start from the back. Always. It helps me. Even if it doesn't help me in a big way, but at least it saves me time if I need it. So here is the last one. This is what, because I don't take much time, is the summary. What I'm going to do in epigenic and epigenetic process influence the activity of a genes, for example. So what I think, if I can find out when I'll be solving this one, if I can find out that this one, epi, sorry, if you can look for this, they'll be able to change. They will be able to change this word. Okay, you can hear me, everybody. You can hear me.
Yes, sir.
Yes.
Okay, okay. So I'll just make sure that I take care of this word. If whenever I find this word, I'll make a mark. Okay, then I'm moving to where? I'm moving to the next page. The next page is this one. Okay, just a moment. Okay. this was the last one. I just epigenetic process. Whenever I find that, I'll have to mark it. This one is the list of researchers. How do you do that? List of I will have to match this researcher's name with the information given about them. There will be, sometimes we have here 3 researchers list, but there could be more as well. There's no guarantee that in the passage we are not going to have more of the researcher's name. There's no guarantee. So what is this? This is, so how do you do that? So what I'm going to do, I'm going to, should we read this information from 5 to 9, or we should be reading the names only? Anybody who can help me?
Sir, just names only.
Names, because as long as we can find the names, we'll have to read.
Find the, yeah.
Okay, we'll find the information. So the first one is, what are the names? Just just see the names. This is the Francis. What's that?
Galton.
Francis Galton, Thomas Bouchard, and Daniel Reed. Okay, just I remember.
Sir, can you please repeat the process? How can I do this?
Which one? Which one? This one.
This one.
Okay. So what I'm going to do, I'm not going to start with this one. I'm not going to start with this. I'm going to very likely start with the first one. Yes, no, not given. But whenever in the whole passage, whenever I come across these names, what I'm going to do, I'm going to mark those names. I'm not going to check out these. I'm not going to check it. And the moment I can find the names, Thomas Bouchard, Daniel Reed, then what will happen? I'll find this information just next to that, before or after that. Fine. And this is going to Butcho. Hello? Eta korlei hobe. Acha, then we move on to the first one. True, false, not given. True, false, not given, say there's some information. Is there any guarantee that the passage, we will find this question at the very beginning? Kono guarantee ache?
No, sir.
Huh?
There's no guarantee.
There's no guarantee. But in most of the cases, prothom question prothome thake. In most of the cases, you will find this because it's 1, 2, 3, 4. You might very likely will be finding this answer. We should start with that. But what we did for the second type of question, we just remember these names, and for the third one, we just remember epigenetic process. Fine, we don't have to do anything more at the moment. So here, what? True, false, not given. What we are going to do, we are going to check the names. There, just a moment. Okay, there may be genetic causes for differences in how young the skin of identical twins look. There may be genetic causes for the differences in how young the skin of, what's that? There may be genetic causes for the differences in how young the skin of identical twins looks. There may be Mr. Rabbi Bhai?
Yes, sir.
What's the meaning of this? There may be genetic.
In the last part, I mean, how young the skin of identical twin looks. This is actually something obscure. I mean, it's equivocal.
Okay, what they're saying, there may be genetic causes.
Yeah, but
for the difference in how
I don't know what's the meaning of the young the skin. I mean,
how young the skin of identical twins look. How young the skin.
আমার মনে হয় এখানে ডিফারেন্সটা মানে কিভাবে দুইটা টুইনস এর ডিফারেন্স বোঝা যায়?
So how the what about the young of the
genetic causes কারণে হয়ে থাকে এরকম কিছু বলছে এখানে.
There may be genetic causes for the difference. For the difference in how young the skin of identical. So between them or with others. Okay, anyhow, let's read it. আমাদের তাহলে এখানে which word we are going to look for? এখানে হলো genetic
causes for difference in young of the genetic.
Okay.
Yeah.
And it's better always to look for 2 of these. মানে আমাদের better কোনটা?
Yeah, of course. 1 and 2.
1 and 2. তাহলে হবে, for some reason, if 1 is not given,
Yeah.
if it is not given, then we'll be able to cover what? And if it is not given, we'll be able to cover. We'll be able to cover the second one. Twins are at greater risk of developing certain illness. Non-twins. Non-twins are twins. You know, there is a greater risk of developing certain illnesses. Certain illnesses than non-twins. Okay, so we know that. So we are talking about they might be talking about
Okay,
illnesses.
sir. Sorry.
let's
Yeah, I understand the first one. It says that, yeah, though they're identical twins, but somehow one of them, I mean the identical brothers twin or sister twin, somehow one of them may look younger than other. So it may caused by some genetic predisposition or like that. Yeah.
Okay, fine. So okay, so and the second one we are talking about illnesses. Twins are at greater risk than non-twins. So the twins, if they're twins, they have a greater.
Sir, can you repeat the meaning of first one, please?
First, there may be genetic causes for the difference in how young the skin of identical twins look.
The meaning.
No, probably he's saying that if they're two identical twins, they should look the same. But
Yeah.
sometimes you might find that one of them, you know, looks
Is
much
look
more.
older
Their skin
or
older
younger, yeah.
and
স্যার
younger.
আমি এটাই ফার্স্ট বলেছিলাম আমার
আচ্ছা,
সাথে
আচ্ছা।
টুইন ছিল তো এরকম
আচ্ছা,
কিছু
আচ্ছা।
একটা
Okay, let's see. Let's check it out. So we are going to check it out. You know, whether that one is true or false or not given. Okay, so let's see. Okay, so here is the question. আমরা এখন কি করব? আমরা এখন এটা বড় করব। হ্যাঁ, বড় করে আমরা তাহলে কি খুঁজছি? Which words? আচ্ছা, মোটামুটি পড়লেও হবে. We don't even have to find the words because we know what we are reading now. Acha. Let's read from here. Research using twins. The biomedical. I mean, let's read it, and whenever we find it, we'll stop there. The biomedical researchers all over the world, true biomedical twins offer a precious opportunity to untangle, to open up, to find out the influence of genes and the environment, of nature and nurture. Nature is genes and nurture is environment. Because identical twins come from a single fertilized egg that splits into two, they share virtually the same genetic code. Any difference between them? One twin having younger looking. So here, probably we are getting the answers. We are getting the answers here. We are getting the answers here. What they're saying? Any difference between them? One twin having younger looking skin, for example, must be due to the environmental factors such as less time spent in the sun. মানে আচ্ছা, এখানে বলতে চাচ্ছি it should be same. There is no reason, but একটাই হতে পারে। এটা কিসের জন্য? Environmental
factor.
There's
not
no
due to
not genetic
factor. Yeah.
তাহলে what about that?
Yeah.
You know, so এটা কি হবে?
Placed from the same organ.
What? এটা কি হবে? This one?
False.
There may be genetic causes. Is there any genetic causes? No, there are no genetic causes. এটা এখানে environmental causes. তাহলে এটা কি হবে?
False.
False. ঠিক আছে? So we found that it's false. আচ্ছা, now what we are looking for? So we found the answers, and let's see. Sorry. Right. So we basically okay, we kind of find it here. Okay, sorry. Okay, what about the next one? So what we are looking for? You remember the next one?
Identical twin have some diseases which is particularly
more common too.
Yeah, common
those
to
are
the identical twins.
Those are more common. If you are identical twins, say you are a twin, then you are likely that you are going to have diseases, more diseases. You are than twins. Greater risk of developing certain, not all diseases, certain So is it true or not? So we are going
So
to read.
while we are looking for number 2, should we just check,
Oh,
just
no,
go back
yes,
for
three,
3?
three, three,
Yeah.
three. Yes. This is better because we don't have any idea about whether 2
Somehow
is,
the 2 is not given.
what if
Yeah.
not given. Okay, the same thing. Okay, so here এখানে হচ্ছে twins such are greater risk of developing certain illnesses than non-twins. The third one, vouchered advertised in newspaper for twins who had been separated at birth. We are talking about voucher advertised as for twins who had been separated at birth. Okay, so as long as we find voucher, this is fine, we can read it. Alternatively, by comparing the experiences of identical twins with those of fraternal twins. What is identical twins and fraternal twins? Any idea, fraternal twins?
Fraternal
Fraternal,
twins means they are not having, they are not sharing the same ovum, but they are sharing the same womb. But there's 2 of them actually. There's
okay,
called
fine.
fraternal twin. Yeah.
It doesn't come from the same, what's that?
I mean same mother, same womb, but there's 2 of them.
Not from the same egg, probably, no?
No, yeah.
Okay, not from the same egg. Not from this egg. As a fraternal twins. Okay, they are coming from father's side, probably, no? Somehow.
Yeah, sir.
So,
It's written here. Who come from separate eggs.
who come separate eggs?
Share
Eggs and
half of their
and on average half their DNA. Okay, fine.
Yeah.
So we are talking about identical twins. They share full DNA. Achha, researchers can quantify, by comparing the experience of their with, researchers can quantify the extent to which our genes affect our lives, because they will compare with fraternal and if identical twins are more similar to each other with respect to an ailment, we have the
ailment means disease, yeah.
Disease. Then fraternal twins are okay. So if we are more similar to each other with respect to ailment, then the vulnerability to the disease must be rooted at least partly in hereditary. Achha, so আরেকবার পড়ি এখানে. Alternate, by comparing experience of identical twins with those of fraternal twins, those who come from separate eggs and share on average half their, researchers can quantify the extent to which our genes affect us. If identical twins are more similar to each other with respect to ailment than fraternal twins are, then vulnerability to the disease must be rooted at least in part in heredity. What they're saying. And our answer, we are looking for, they are more prone. Are they talking about that?
No, sir, not clearly.
Are they saying that if you are identical twins, you have a more chance of getting certain diseases? Let me read for the final time. And let's read for the for the final time. Okay. Anyways, what they're trying to say, anybody? So is it true, false, or not given? That alternative, by comparing experience of identical twins with those of fraternal twins who came, researchers can quantify the extent to which our genes are, but they can quantify. This is the answer. If identical twins are more similar to each other, with respect to an ailment, then fraternal twins are more similar to each other with respect to ailment, then vulnerability to disease must be rooted at least in part. Oh, in part both say. It's not completely. In part in heredity. Yeah. So they're saying that in part. This is the key. Na, Itana? Yeah, boy?
Yes, sir.
At the in part.
Yeah. In part in their heredity, but it's obscure. I mean, it's maybe not given, sir. Most probably.
If ideas are more similar. If. এখানে কি if এর জন্য, is this word very important? If. they're not sure. If
Yeah.
আমার মনে হয় এই জন্য হতে পারে, see,
Of course.
if identical twins are more similar, urban must be rooted in part. I think they're not sure.
Yeah.
I think they're not sure.
It's not clearly given here or stated here that due to the identical twins or fraternal twins, they have the
More
more
similar to each
vulnerability
other
in similar
with respect
diseases,
to
or they are more
fraternal twins.
prone to some diseases.
Oh,
So,
listen, they are not comparing fraternal twins with identical twins. They are
Yeah.
comparing if the identical twins, if the fraternal twins are more similar to each other. They are not comparing identical twins with fraternal twins. Rather, they're comparing with identical twins themselves and fraternal twins themselves.
Yeah.
ঠিক আছে?
Yeah.
আমাদের কিন্তু এইটা বলছেন, আমাদের এখানে they're giving a different set of answers. বুঝছেন? এইটাই বোধহয়। You got it? Others, if you're there, আপনারা আছেন? আপনারা কেউ দেখছেন এটা? Anybody else?
Yes, sir.
হ্যাঁ?
Yes, sir.
আচ্ছা। তাহলে এখানেও দাঁড়াচ্ছে
Yes,
যে
sir,
এটা
yes,
তো
sir.
ইটস এ ডিফারেন্ট স্টোরি। এখানে বলছে যদি আইডেন্টিক্যাল টুইনদের মধ্যে ওদের মধ্যে যদি ইয়েটা মানে ওদের মধ্যে কম্পারিজন, নিজেদের মধ্যে কম্পারিজন যদি খুব বেশি থাকে এবং যদি ফ্র্যাটার্নাল টুইনসে থাকে, তাহলে দেয়ার ভালনারেবিলিটি মাস্ট বি রুটেড অ্যাট লিস্ট ইন পার্ট, নট 100%। তাহলে কিছুটা হেরিডিটির এখানে একটা প্রভাব ফেলে। বাট এখানে ক্লিয়ারলি জিজ্ঞেস করছে, what they are asking, clearly they are asking what? They are asking, what they are asking, that twins are at greater risk of developing than non-twins. Twins না, এই যে non-twins মানে ওইটা কিছুটা। আচ্ছা, আরেকটা কথা, ওখানে তো ওরাও তো টুইন, কিন্তু এখানে তো বলে একেবারে নন টুইন। এটা তো একেবারেই না, নন টুইন মানে নন টুইন। সো ইটস নট গিভেন, ক্লিয়ারলি নট গিভেন। আচ্ছা, তাহলে কি হবে? এটা নট গিভেন। ওকে, হোয়াট অ্যাবাউট দ্য নেক্সট ওয়ান? হ্যাঁ, ওইটা একেবারেই নট গিভেন। হ্যাঁ, সো হোয়াট অ্যাবাউট দ্য নেক্সট ওয়ান? নেক্সট ওয়ান ইজ vouchered, advertise in newspaper. Advertise in newspaper. What? For twins who had been separated at birth. So they are twins, মানে একেবারে ছোটবেলায় সেপারেট হয়ে গেছে। আচ্ছা, টুইনস বলতে কি ছেলেও হতে পারে মেয়েও হতে পারে? হ্যাঁ, এমনও তো হতে পারে। হ্যাঁ, ছেলে মেয়ে, ছেলে হতে পারে, ছেলে মেয়ে হতে পারে। আচ্ছা, voucher advertise in newspapers for twins who had been, advertise করেছিল কি? We are going to see whether voucher did that. So we are looking for what? Voucher. আচ্ছা, so we can read from here, no problem. আচ্ছা, আরেকটা কেন পড়ছি আমরা বলেন তো? Because whenever we will find the name, if we find the name, we will underline that. আচ্ছা, these two lines of research studying the differences between identical twins to pinpoint the influence of environment and comparing identical twins with fraternal ones to measure the role of inheritance have been crucial to understanding the interplay of nature and nurture in determining our personalities, behavior, and vulnerability to disease. তারপর বলছে, let's see. Say, the idea of using twins to measure the influence of heredity dates back to 18, when the English scientist Francis Galton. So what are we going to do? আমরা কি করব এখানে? We can just make a mark. So here, কিসের একটা নাম আছে? We are looking for a name. Here is the name. And even we are reading for other information. The idea of using twins to measure the influence of heredity dates back to 1875, when the English scientist Francis Galton first suggested the approach and coined the phrase nature and nature. Where is that?
Nurture.
Sorry, nature and nurture. But but twin studies took a surprising twist in 1980. That's 87 and 1980. 80 to just few days back, with the arrival of studies into identical twins who had been separated at birth and reunited at adults. But twin studies surprising twist, and with the arrival of studies into identical twins who had been separated at birth and reunited at adults. Okay, so we are looking for that voucher name. তারপর বলছে over 2 decades 137 sets of twins eventually visited Thomas over 2 decades. কতগুলো? 137 sets of twins eventually visited Thomas Bouchard lab in what became known as the Minnesota study of twins reared apart. Not everybody, over 2 sets of twins. Numerous tests were carried out on the twins and they were each asked more than 15,000 questions. That's a Bouchard, we found Bouchard, no? We found Bouchard. Bouchard, here is also Bouchard. Here is our Bouchard. So, just let's read it what we are looking for. Bouchard advertised in newspaper for twins who had been separated at birth. Anything, any answers? Bouchard and his colleagues used this mountain of data. The key to their approach were as a Bouchard population can be explained by different Bouchard and other looks. They found the invisible genetic. So lately, okay, so nothing. So what could be the answers here? No mention of ad or anything like that. No mention of ad. So এটা কি হবে?
Not
Not
given.
given.
No, নাকি not given. Anybody?
Not given.
Why no?
Because there's no clear
আচ্ছা,
opposite
not given
statement.
মানে we are not sure whether এমনও
Yeah.
হতে পারে he might have used or he may not have used.
Advertisement or might not.
হ্যাঁ, maybe or
There's,
maybe no
maybe
guarantee we can say that no he didn't.
There
because
might be
it's
two
not,
possibilities either.
there's a possibility. So আমরা এখান থেকে আরেকটা হচ্ছে দেই নাই. So we can't be sure. সেক্ষেত্রে কি হচ্ছে? So we can write what? This is also not given. This is also not given. আচ্ছা, আমরা এটা দিচ্ছি not given. আর প্রথমটা কি হবে? এটা not given না? হ্যাঁ।
Yeah.
এটা not given মানে ওরা যেটা বলছিল এই ব্যাপারে কোনো কথাই নাই। ওইটা হ্যাঁ। আর ফার্স্ট সেটটা false. What about the next one? Next one হচ্ছে epigenetic process are different from both genetic and environmental process. This process is different from both genetic and environmental process. So what we're going to do, let's look for epigenetic. তাহলে আমরা এখানে দেখেন, এখানে কিন্তু এই নাম পেলাম না। আচ্ছা, আর কোনো নাম আছে? No. আচ্ছা, এখানে we are having the name. So whenever we are getting the name, we are making a cross. This colleagues use this mountain of, is there any name? Okay, the name is here. Okay, no problem. So lately, however, Prince studies have helped lead. আমরা কিন্তু epigenetic, we haven't found it as yet. As lately, however, two studies have helped lead scientists to a radical new conclusion that nature are not only. Achha, we are looking for number 4. Achha, lately, achha, এখান থেকে পড়ি. Let's read it. So lately, however, twin studies have helped lead scientists to a radical new conclusion. What is that? That nature and nurture are not only এখানে কি হচ্ছে? Not only are chemical reactions tied to neither, because not only elemental forces at work, according to a recent field called epigenetics. The word is here. Epigenetics. There is a third factor also in play, one that is in some cases serve as a bridge between environment and our genes, and in others operates on its own to shape who we are. এখানে কোনো answer আছে? So we are looking for epigenetic process are different from both genetic and environmental process. Do we get the answers here? That epigenetics, yes, this one is different from environment, is different from genetic. এইটা থেকে এতটুকু ইনফরমেশন থেকে what we can see, yes, true, false নাকি not given.
True.
It's a different one. It's not that,
It's a
but
different one.
it's a kind of a bridge somewhere in between.
Because they stated that there is a third factor which is
It's a third
different
factor.
from slightly from
আচ্ছা
the
তাহলে কি
second
হবে
and
এখানে
first.
ওরা বলছে যে it's different, so I think it's কি হবে
True.
it's true. So this is true. From this information we can say that acha, so it's this one goes to true. আচ্ছা এখন এখন একটা জিনিস আমরা দেখছি যে we are done with আচ্ছা list of researchers. One thing we can do, আচ্ছা এখন আমরা কি করব বলেন তো? এখন দেখেন আমরা কিন্তু by this time what we have done, আমরা কি প্রত্যেকটা এই যে have you underlined all the name of the scientists? Not yet.
Yes, not yet.
করেছে not yet. So should
Two
we
scientists we have marked, but
Only two,
as for
only two.
Daniela Reed,
Daniel, we haven't. So what we're going to do now? So think about this is what? This is the last one. এখন আমরা should we start from here or should we start from এই যে not true, false, not given, another one এই যে আচ্ছা এখানে একটু প্রবলেম হচ্ছে, just a moment. Okay, so think about this one. Should we start, this is the name of the researcher, should we start from here or should we start from this one? Because আমরা কিন্তু এর মধ্যে কি করিনি এখনো, we haven't underlined all the names.
All the names.
এখন
But we have marked the passage which calls.
হ্যাঁ এখন যতক্ষণ না আমরা শেষ পর্যন্ত যাব আমরা তো ফুল অ্যানসারটা পাচ্ছি না, আমার কথা বুঝছেন? নাম তো লাস্ট পর্যন্ত থাকতে পারে, বাট হোয়াট অ্যাবাউট দিস ওয়ান? সো আমার মনে হয় যে হ্যাঁ এইটা আমার মনে হয় যে এইটা আগে করলে ভালো, বিকজ বাই দি টাইম একটা কাজ করতে পারি, what we can do, just think about this one. We were here, you get my point? We can start reading from here. By the time we have found what? The last one. আমার কথা বুঝছেন? সামারি, মনে করেন সামারিটা এখানে পেলাম, ধরেন আমরা একটা কাজ করতে পারি যে এখান থেকে নামগুলো খুঁজতে খুঁজতে আমি তো এখানে পেয়ে গেছি সামারি, খুব তাড়াতাড়ি একবার নামগুলো পড়ে কি করতে পারি, ওই we can underline the names, তাহলে অ্যাডভান্টেজ হবে ওর মধ্যে আমাদের এই সেকেন্ডটা শেষ হয়ে গিয়ে আমরা থার্ডটা শুরু করতে পারি, অথবা আরেকটা কাজ করতে পারি, by the time we have marked all the names, বুঝছেন? By the time we have marked all the names, what we can do, ওই জেনেটিকটাও বের করে ফেলতে পারি। সো ওয়ান্স উই ফাইন্ড দ্যাট আমরা আস্তে আস্তে পারি। সো ইটস আপ টু মানে কোনটা সুবিধা হয়। আচ্ছা একটা কাজ করি আমরা এখানে, উই ক্যান ডু ওয়ান থিং, আমরা এটা করি, আমরা লেটস ডু এইটা, আমরা তাহলে এর নামগুলো একটু দেখে দিই। হ্যাঁ আমরা কোথায় কোথায় আমরা আমাদের মতো করছি, আমরা কি খুঁজে পেয়েছি? হ্যাভ ইউ ফাউন্ড? আচ্ছা আমরা think about this one. আচ্ছা নামটা নাম is there any name here? Where is the name? Have you found any name here?
Yes sir.
কোথায় নাম আছে? Name, we are looking for name because we already found that. না এখানে
The right side, second paragraph, Bouchard.
Okay, so here
First paragraph also, in first paragraph.
First paragraph, is there any?
Yes sir. In the right first paragraph. In
Okay,
the last
yeah. Okay.
7 line.
He's there. We are looking for this one. And any other names? Bouchard is here. Yeah. You know, Bouchard, whenever you are getting Bouchard, is there any Bouchard? Bouchard is here. Yeah. Any other? Okay, so here is there any name? The epigenetic process. It very likely it's going to start from here. Any other names? Any other names? No. Any other names? We are looking for names. No names, huh? So far, no names. Okay, Daniel Reed is there. Daniel Reed. Any other names?
Thomas.
Where?
Barnes.
Where is there here? No.
Right
Okay.
to
Thomas
Okay,
Bouchard.
Bouchard. It's repeated, no? Eta. R. Is there any other name?
I think, sir, we missed one. Francis Galton.
No, Francis Galton is at the beginning. Here. Francis Galton is here.
Yeah. So we found all the names.
Okay, we found all the names. As in the process, we also found what? This one as well. Huh? Now it's up to us whether which one we are going to start, because once we have found it, we can even read. Can I read us all the names? Huh? Is there any other? She. Here. Okay, these are the names. Okay, fine. Let's start with this one. Second one, which one you're going to start? The list of researchers or epigenetic? I think let's do the epigenetic. It doesn't really matter which one we start first. Epigenetic process, what they mentioned that epigenetic processes are, I'm not sure, is there any epigenetic process? Is there any other mention of that? I think, is this the first one? Epigenetic process? Probably. Okay. তাহলে আমাদের অ্যানসারটা হচ্ছে in epigenetic process dash influence the activity of our genes. This is the summary. You see, summary. In epigenetic process dash influence the activity of our genes. Something, for example, in creating our internal something. What's that something? We don't know. As a something influence activity of our genes, for example, in creating our mental something. So let's check it out. Process are chemical reactions tied to neither nature or nurture, but responding what researchers have called a third component. These reactions influence how our genetic code is expressed, how each gene is strengthened or weakened, even turned on or off, to build our bones, brains, and all other parts of the body. Did we find the information? Did we find the information? Did we find the information of this one? What influences the activity of a gene? For example, creating
chemicals.
Chemicals. That's good. They're talking about chemicals. So here I believe D. What about this one? For example, creating our internal what?
Internal code.
Yeah.
Code.
Internal organs.
ওখানে কি বলেছিল? They mentioned the organs.
Sorry, internal organs. Organs. Sorry.
Bones, brains, and all other parts of our bodies. তাহলে কি হবে?
Organs.
Looking for organs. এটা we are looking for B. এটা হয়ে গেল। তারপর the study of epigenetic process is uncovering a way in which our genes can be affected মানে influence by our something. The study of
behavior.
Processes is uncovering a way in which our genes can be affected by our something. Let's read. If we think of a DNA as an immense piano keyboard and genes as the key, each key symbolizing a segment of DNA responsible for a particular note or trait, and all the key combining to make us who we are. Then epigenetic process determine when and how each key can be start changing the tune being played. আমরা কি এখনো কোনো কিছু খুঁজে পেয়েছি? এখানে এটা played. তারপর আমরা আরেকটু পড়ি. One way the study of epigenetics is revolutionary our understanding of biology is by revealing a mechanism by which the environment directly impacts our genes. তাহলে কি হবে এখানে? কোন word?
Environment.
এখানে দেখেন, they're talking about environment. বলছে দেখেন এখানে বলছে কি The study process uncovering in which our genes can be affected by key? By
environment.
environment. Okay, তাহলে we are going for E. লেখা আছে. One example is that if a pregnant rat suffers stress, the newborn rat may later show problems in its something. এখানে কোনটা হবে? One example is that if a pregnant rat suffers stress, the newborn may later show in its what? This one is
Behavior.
Huh? Behavior?
Yes.
That behavior is behavior. Behavior also. So I think you should write here F. So we are kind of done with these because it doesn't cover too much ground. And if you think of DNA as one way of epigenetic, studies of animals, for example, have shown that when a rat experiences stress, it can cause epigenetic changes in fetus that lead to behavior problems as rodent grows up. So it's a behavior problem. And the behavior. Fine. So we are done with that. Now we have what? We have all the names. Now we'll have to match the names. So let's start with the first name. There's no point because we will start with the we'll start with the first name. Okay, wait. Okay, here. First name. So where did we find the where did you find the names? এখানে একটা name আছে না? Let's read it together. Say the idea of using twins to measure the influence of heredity dates back when the English scientist Francis Galton first suggested the approach, suggest করেছিল and coined the phrase nature and nurture, ওই শুরু করেছিল. But twin studies took a surprise in 90. এইটা তাহলে এতটুকু আমরা পড়লাম. Francis Galton, whether we find আমরা Francis Galton নিয়ে whether we find anything. একটু দেখি. This is just one. দাঁড়ান, এটা একটু সমস্যা হয়েছে. Which one is going to be the answer? এটা কোনটা হবে? দেখেন তো. Invented a term used to distinguish two factors affecting human characteristics. Express the view that the study of epigenetics will increase our knowledge. Develop a mathematical method of measuring genetic influences. Pioneered research into genetics using twins and carried out research into twins who had lived apart. এই এটা কোথায় পাবো? We are looking for 5. আচ্ছা, এটা কোনটার সাথে ম্যাচ করে?
We can
Pioneer
look
research
again.
into genetics into
এইটা আচ্ছা, এখানে যেটা আমার মনে হচ্ছে.
Sir, can we get back to the
I think you have number 8 2. I think it's 2 both. Invented a term used to describe two factors affecting human characteristic. So
nature.
Let's move on. Sorry. Here, the idea of using twins and measure their heredity date back to when the English scientists first suggested the approach and coined the phrase nature and nurture. But twin studies, and we don't need this one. So এর মধ্যে আমাদের কোনটা হচ্ছে? We are getting better. ঠিক আছে? So okay, what about now we look forward? Boucher. আচ্ছা, Boucher, what's that? The Thomas in what became the age? দুইজন. They're talking about two twins, who lived apart. Numerous tests were carried out. Boucher and his colleagues used this mountain of data to identify how for twins were affected by their genetic makeup. The key to their approach was complete hereditability. The heredity of a Talita Kunta, which one? What do you think? We are looking for. We are looking for voucher. The key to our approach was a statistical concept in broad terms of a trade measures to extent to which differences among can be explained by differences. And whatever vouchers and others. Do you find anything here? Do you find anything? Can we read it? Kunta কাছাকাছি express the view that the study of epidemiology will increase in the knowledge. এটার ব্যাপারে কিছু বলেছে? Develop a mathematical method না বোধহয়. Pioneered research in genetic twins carried out research onto who had lived apart.
9 may be the answer.
Huh?
Carried out the research into
I know,
who
sir.
have lived after.
এটা কোনটা হচ্ছে? I think
Voucher.
B.
Thomas.
So we are done with 5. We are done with 7. We are done with 9. আচ্ছা এখন কি হবে? So Daniel Reed we haven't covered it. আচ্ছা ইয়ে কিন্তু আরো অনেক বলেছে. So there could be more. তাহলে হচ্ছে okay, can we read more? Can we look for different data whenever another sentence they found genetic? They took the approach of statistical consideration in bottom. Right, can be explained. আচ্ছা তারপর name. আচ্ছা এইটা আগে দেখে দিই. Genetic has worked with many twins over the years and thought deeply about the twin studies that they have taught us. It's very clear when you look at twins that much of what they share is hardware. She says many things about them are absolutely same and unalterable, but it's also clear as when you get to know them that other things about them are different. As epigenetic is the origin of a lot of those differences in my view. Do you find anything, any answers? An answer?
Sir, এটা হচ্ছে number 6.
কোনটা মনে হচ্ছে?
Number 6.
Number 6. Express the view that study will increase our knowledge.
Can we say number 8, 7 for Thomas because he is working about statistics.
Where is that? What was that? Okay, it is in the second page. Genetics, what things about are the same. Twin have. When you look at how much they share is hardware. Many things about them are absolutely same and unalterable, but it's just when you get to other things about is origin of lots of differences. Daniel Reed. Reed এখানে আরেকটু আছে. The latest is promises to take our understanding even further. Even further is এখানে.
Yeah.
What I like to say is that nature writes some things in pencil. He says that the written pen can change that DNA, but things written in pencil can be shapy. Now that is actually able at DNA and see. Okay, so which one? Where can we find?
Number 6.
Number
Go
6.
Read.
আচ্ছা এই যে 6 কিন্তু এখানে বলেছে না?
Yes,
What
sir.
they have said 6. You see, develop a data. Express the view that this study will increase in our knowledge.
Yeah.
আচ্ছা এটা কোথায় আছে? We found
The
it
last
where?
paragraph.
The last paragraph. এই জায়গাটায়. So what about the last paragraph? What about the other one? We are left with what? That's 7. We're left with 7. Let's see the 7. 7 is develop a mathematical method of measuring genetic. Where did they mention anything about mathematical?
We can use mathematics for statistics.
In which? In which
Uh,
paragraph?
Thomas Boucher, sir.
Thomas
about
one page and last
one page.
paragraph, I think.
Okay. So this is the second. Okay. What Boucher and his colleague used mountain of data identifier. The equator was a statistical concept. Okay.
Yeah.
Here the main word is what? I think statistical concept, mathematical. A mathematical. You see? Then what? Then probably we are going for এটা. We are going for what? বুঝছেন? এই যে এখানে mathematics. So এটাও গেল. So this one, I think 6 goes with what? Boucher, huh? Thomas Boucher. এইটা.
Yes.
এখানে
Yes.
আবার ইয়া হবে B. এটা আবার B.
6 goes with Daniel Reed, sir.
Which one? 6.
6 goes with Daniel Reed. 7 goes with Thomas
goes
Boucher.
Thomas Boucher. Okay.
Yes,
6
yes.
goes with. Okay, fine. So we have found it. মানে ওই ফার্স্ট স্টেপ থেকে একটা করে চলে আসলেই হবে in a one by one, because don't look for it randomly, it doesn't help. মানে তাহলে হচ্ছে whenever we are doing the first one or the second one, by that time or even third one, we should also ওই যে নামগুলো we should find out the names. Other than that, later on it takes lots of time, to find the names. Okay, the last one, let's see, this one was sad. Oh no, we are done with that. Yes, we are done with that. So it's all about process. All the answers are there, but you have to be, the more you practice, you become familiar. You know from where to start and how does it work. Good.
Sometimes a technical word gets problem. I mean, if it's not related to
my point is you have to be such that all the easy ones you can get through. The difficult one you never know. Sometimes what if you also have problem with the easy one? That doesn't make sense. কথা বুঝছেন যে yes no not given বলেন, অথবা হেডিং বলেন, অথবা which paragraph, এগুলো চেষ্টা করেন যাতে ফুল মার্ক আসে। তারপর all the difficult ones, if you fail the difficult ones, you can't help it, because that has been the case. That has been the case for many years. Okay, we are done with this one. আমরা তাহলে একটু এটা করতে যাচ্ছি। আমরা what we want to do, we can check some so we can read essay as well, huh? আমরা টাস্ক 2 এর একটা এসে একটু দেখতে পারি, হ্যাঁ? টাস্ক 2 দেখবেন নাকি কি দেখবেন আপনারা? টাস্ক 1 না টাস্ক 1? আচ্ছা টাস্ক 1 এর কি কোনটা? which one will be better?
Sir,
pie chart.
আচ্ছা pie chart. আচ্ছা আমরা এতেই যাই. Why don't you go to
bar chart or
Okay, fine. Pie and bar. Let's move on. Just read it quickly. So it's not bad, Jackie, I can even take some. Okay, Jackie, Jacky, Jackie eyes. It doesn't have to be what pie, no? Let's talk about pie. Okay, here.
So process diagram. Can we also discuss about process diagram?
Process diagram. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Why don't you do this one? Because
we have very shallow knowledge in process diagram. Yeah.
Okay. So we'll be doing this one. Okay, so let's check this out, huh? How to write a process diagram, huh? What are the process diagram? These are the process diagram. What if you get one of these? What you are going to do? These are all process diagrams. These are all the process diagrams. Okay, let's start. Let's see. Listen, this really doesn't matter from where you are going to study, and this is pretty good. This one, I have faith in this one. This is very straightforward. If you want to read, you can read from many places. There's no problem with that, but you'll have to get the basic understanding right. Then move on to the, other places. Even if you ask me, ask me for more materials, I can also give you more material. Just ask me. An IELTS process diagram question can contain a wide variety of different types of graphics. It could be a natural process such as water cycle, manufacturing process, or a diagram or a system. Using this 5-step will help you to write a high scoring process diagram. Just a moment. Okay, so what you'll have to analyze the question first, then identify the main features, write an introduction, write an overview, write the detail. These are the must-do stuffs. In this lesson, we are going to work through 5 stages step by step. Let's see. Before we begin, here is a model essay structure that you can use as a guideline to all IELTS academic. Task 1. All means we have line graph, we have bar chart, we have pie chart, all this. Ideally, your essay should have 4 paragraphs. Paragraph 1, introduction. Paragraph 2, overview. Paragraph 3 is first main feature. Paragraph 4 is second main feature. So basically 4 paragraphs. Introduction, overview must be there. First, it's better to write 2 paragraphs, so it shows that you have control. We now have everything we need to begin planning and writing our IELTS process diagram essay.
So we don't have to put the conclusion in there.
No, there's no conclusion.
Yeah.
Sometimes what happens, if you're not writing the overview, you can
write it in the later
do it as a conclusion, to conclude like that. But in fact, they don't want a conclusion, because conclusion means you are giving your assessment, your view. But here there's no reason to give that. You are just describing something. In essay, what happens? You write the essay, you develop the ideas, but here it's already given. We now have everything we need to begin planning our essay. So, Eta, we'll check out this one. The diagram below shows a structure that is used to generate electricity from wave power. So summarize the information by selecting and reporting the main issue features and make comparison where relevant. Write at least 150 words. Generating electricity from the sea. Generating electricity from the sea. So we have 2, here. So what can we understand from here? What can we understand? Here, is there anything we can understand?
If air come, wave is go, and electric is not, we don't have electrics like this.
Okay, what's happening here? Say the wave is coming, huh?
Yes,
the wave is coming.
wave,
Oh, I see. The wave is coming, and it's the air.
come, and
I see.
air go to
Air
up,
go there,
for
and the turbine. Okay.
is turned, and electrics come.
Okay. There is a chamber. If you have the chamber, that pressure it created. So air goes there, and this one moves, and this one. Okay.
Yeah.
And here, it also, tide and ebb is during the tide, and this is the ebb. So here, what happens? There is a reverse. I think there's a reverse pressure. Okay, reverse process. Okay, cliff or seawall. Fine, we understand that. So it's a two-way process. While it's coming, it's also generating. While it's going out, I believe it's also creating. Let's see. Now analyze the question. The format of every academic task 1 question is the same, with the instruction sentence highlighted below, identical in every question. Here is our practice question again. The diagrams below show a structure that is used to generate electricity from wave power. Summarize the information by selecting and reporting the main features and make comparison where relevant. That's to summarize the information by selecting and reporting main features. Okay. Listen, you'll have to understand, you'll have to give the answers here. You see? So whatever they're asking, summarize. You'll have to summarize. If you write everything, no, they are not happy. The information by selecting and reporting the main features. So they want to see whether you can select what the most important aspects and make comparison where relevant. Every question has to consider one sentence, the brief description of the graphics, the instructions, and diagrams, chart. Okay, these are the three things. Sentence 2 tells you that this is the first select the main features, write about the main features, and compare the main features. Write about the main features and compare. You'll have to do everything. Not you can't leave out anything. All three tasks refer to the main features of the graphic. You do not also have to write about everything. Just pick out 2 or 3 key features, and you will have plenty to write about. So all three tasks refer to the main features. That's fine. Let's see. Identify the main feature. What are the main features in that picture? The graphic in IELTS process diagram question should not be difficult to understand. There are not usually any number of there are not usually any numbers to analyze as in other types of questions, just a diagram to interpret. Or as in our practice question, 2 diagrams which each show part of the process. All you are looking for are the main features, as these should be the easiest things to spot. There will be lots of information in the graphic to help you identify them, especially titles, labels, and captions. There will be lots of information in the graphic to help you identify them, especially titles. Okay, here's some useful question to ask. Is it a linear or cyclical process? Cyclical means whether it's in a start again, again, it finish again, or it's just 1, 2, 3, 4, it finishes, then, okay. So let's see. A linear process starts and finishes at different places. It will often involve the manufacture or creation of something, starting with the raw materials going in at one end and the finished product coming out on this. So this is what? Linear. An example of this can be seen in the diagram for a past IELTS process diagram question about the manufacture of bricks. They're saying that this is linear. This is not a circular process. Linear is this one, and you're done. And again, the process starts. A cyclical process, on the other hand, is a process that goes back to the beginning and repeats over and over, such as this life cycle of a frog or a butterfly. You see, it's an egg, and it goes, and from egg, you again get the eggs. So this is cyclical. Okay, what about where does the process start and end? For a linear process, this will usually be obvious. It may be harder to determine for a cyclical process. Well, where does the process start and end? It's always better to write that. For a linear process, this will usually be obvious. It may be harder to determine for a cyclical process. So it's important that you examine the graphic carefully to find out how many steps are there to the process. Is there a lot? It can be helpful to number them from 1 to whatever number the final stage is. Can the process be easily broken down into stages? In the brick making graphic, for example, there are 3 stages. Treating the brick from clay, manufacturing the finished product by drying and firing, and packaging, and basically there are 3 steps. And those are kind of independent. In the life cycle graphic above, there are also 3 distinct stages. As the frog passes through different stages, that's it. Again, there are 3 distinct answer. There are also 3 distinct stages as the frog passes. That's it. So that was very clear. What are the raw materials? What is produced at the end of the process? This question obviously apply only to the manufacturing, only to the manufacturing process. For other types of process, it might be more appropriate to ask the following question. What is the end result of the process? This question is relevant to our practice ICE process diagram question, which shows a process that creates something using a particular structure. The end result is the production of electricity. Now, so What main features stand out in these? So what are the main features? What is the main feature? What they're doing? Generating electricity from the sea. This is the heading. Now, this graphic doesn't contain very much details. There are only two stages to process. Electricity is generated as the wave flows into the structure. Electricity also created as the receding wave draws air back down the column. So this is A, this is B. This is going up and that's going down, and you are producing electricity. Okay, now, fine. So how do you write? This is the stages. Other diagrams are more complex, and you have to go through them stage by stage to work out what's happening, and then pick out just 2 or 3 main features to write about. The key features are you select will be the starting point for your essay. You will then go on to add more detail later. However, with just 20 minutes allowed for task 1 and a requirement of only 150 words, you won't be able to include many details. We are now ready to begin writing our essay. Here is a reminder of the 4-part structure we are going to use. Paragraph 1, introduction. Paragraph 2, overview. Paragraph 3, as a first main feature. And paragraph 4, second main feature. Okay, so this is the basic structure. Let's see how we can write. Write an introduction. You put what this information, this one introduction. But you can copy that. What you can do, you can paraphrase that. So in the introduction, you should simply paraphrase the question. That is, say the same thing in a different way. You can do this by using synonyms and changing the sentence structure. For example, question. The diagram below show a structure that is used to generate electricity from wave power. So introduction from this was the question, and how can you write? 2 diagrams illustrate a method of creating electricity from the force of waves using a specifically designed man-made construction. So someone has paraphrased it in his or her own way. No problem with that. This is all you need to do for the introduction. Now what we do? We usually move on to what? We usually move on to the overview. And this is the overview. Overview, you must write the overview. If you don't write the overview, what? You don't get good marks because you don't know the main idea, what stands out. You know, in the second paragraph, you should.
So instead of using diagram, can we use pictogram? Is it similar pictogram?
Pictogram. I haven't seen it that much. Most of the cases, diagram. It could be. You know, you might find it somewhere, but I can't recall. Pictogram is not very common, and it really doesn't make much of a difference. You get my point? In these cases, it doesn't make much of a difference. Whether you write pictogram or they'll consider it state.
Okay, sir. Thank you.
So state the information simply using synonyms where possible. No elaborate vocabulary or grammar structure required, just the appropriate word and correct verb tenses. The structure consisting of wave chamber and a tall column containing a turbine is erected on a steeply sloping coastal cliff or seawall where it is subject to the movement of the ocean. So here, overview, this structure consisting of a wave chamber and a tall is erected on a steeply sloping coastal cliff or sea where subject to this one. Okay, so they're describing the structure. Overview. Steeply. Okay. Did they mention, you know, whether they? Oh, here we have mentioned that electricity is designed. Okay. And second, we are talking about. Listen, I can provide you with many samples. If you give the exam, just ask me. That will help you. Once you understand these details, then if you contact me, then I might give you samples, good samples together. So if you keep on reading that, you'll see that you are improving. Step 5, what the first detailed paragraph. Paragraph 3 and 4 of your IELTS process diagram essay are where you include more detailed information. 3 and 4. In paragraph 3, you should explain the first key feature in more detail. For this question, we will expand on the first stage of the process. Here it is again. electricity is generated as the wave flows into the structure, diagram A. And this is an example of what you could write. The first diagram shows how the incoming wall fills a large chamber and forces the air inside this space up the column and through the turbine. The pressure of the air rotates the turbine, which generates a current of electricity. The process does not end. Therefore, the structure is able to continue producing power as the sea recedes, as can be seen in the second diagram. The pressure here comparing, you see, they ask you to compare as well. The first diagram, let's read it again, shows how the incoming wave fills a large chamber and forces the air into this space up the column and through the turbine. The pressure of the air rotates the turbine, which generates a current of electricity. The process does not end there, for the structure is able to continue producing power as the sea recedes, as can be seen. What about the second detail? The fourth and the final paragraph, you do the same thing for your remaining key features or for this second stage of the process. Electricity was created as the receding wave draws air back down the column. Here is the example of what you could write. As the water now flows away from the structure, it draws air back down the column and downwards, such as through the turbine, in the same direction as the previous upward flow of air. The turbine continues to turn, thus generating even more electricity. Let's read it again. As the water now flows away from the structure, it draws air back down the column and downwards to the turbine in the same direction as the previous upward flow of air. The turbine continues to turn, this generating even. So here are the four paragraphs brought together and to create the first. Okay, let's read the whole paragraph in a whole answers. The two diagrams illustrate the method of creating electricity from the force of waves using a specifically designed man-made construction. The structure consisting, you see here, what is this? You know? You see, so they're getting marked. Illustrate using here. This is what? This is a modifier. You know, reduce creative clause. You're writing, you're showing that you can write complex sentences. Is erected, you might get marked for this one. Steeply, you see, collocation, steeply sloping coastal cliff. You see, it's a pretty good writing. You know, the language is natural and seawall. You know, using the appropriate word, subject to the movement of, you know, the way they write, the Westerners write and we write, you know, sometimes not gulf of difference, but there's some substantial differences. The first diagram shows how the incoming wall fills a large chamber and forces the air inside the space up there and through. Okay, shows how the pressure of the air rotates the turbine, which you see is a relative clause. Which it has a complex sentence. The process does not end there. For money because it has been used as a because the structure is able to continue producing power as the sea research, as can be seen in the second diagram. So what about the third one? As the water now flows away from the structure as complex sentence, it draws air back down as a back down. This is it is a nice use of the column and downwards through the turbine in the same direction as the previous upward flow of air. The turbine continues to turn, thus generating even more electricity. Okay, so it was 165 words. 165 words. So this is pretty much you can write in this manner. Okay, Mr. Fazlur Rabbi.
Yes, sir.
So, what do you think? So you get some perspective, some
Yes, sir,
idea.
thank you. Yeah.
No, I'm not saying that it was very clear, but this is how it works. You know, you get some idea, then you start reading, just like the vocabulary. You get my point?
Yes, sir.
You read that, and you find that the more you read, what? You know, you want to read.
There's no shortcut.
There's no shortcut. That's the thing. You know, sometimes what happens, everything is there, but we don't just want to read it.
Yeah.
It's simply as there. You know, even if you read, say this is one website. Say there are good websites. Say there's what Lee's, there's ICE Advantage, there's what's that? E2. If you compare, if you read 5 of this, think about this is what this is this is what these
It's a standard.
this is a process diagram. If you read 5 of these, then you become clear, quite clear.
Yes, sir.
You know, you don't have to go further. Then what you need to do, you need to collect some samples. You know, 9 or 10 or 12 or 15 samples. There, that we can help you. Eventually, you know, so we'll be giving you, you know, those who want it, we will give you. Then what you should keep on practicing, and if you want to give exam, give the exam. If I give you 150 of these, if you keep on reading, you know, because there's no repetition, so you're not going to get one of these again in the IELTS exam, but what the structure is the same. So it's about getting right every time. You keep on. You have to. These days, what happens? You can spend 2 hours in YouTube and in Facebook, no problem. But if I ask you to spend 40 minutes in finding out what they're talking about, process diagram, very unlikely. You know, this is life. You know, so you'll have to make sure that you know what you're doing. And just think about here. Just think about Jackie. It doesn't have to be Jackie. There's so many. Think about, say, what you need. Everything is there. Academic test writing, general test, eyes, you know, academic task 1, understanding task 1, how to plan an essay, you know, vocabulary for task 1, grammar for task 1. You will ask for vocabulary. Say, you sir, where I'll get the vocabulary? Everything is there. In most of the websites, they have it. But there is also a problem. They have so many things, so many links. You start somewhere and you keep on reading. That's also another problem.
To some point, I get lost. I mean,
you get lost. Okay, that's also a problem. So sometimes it's better to have a note, one note. Think about, think about maps. So think about, let's see whether it's a good one. Say this is a map. Process diagram, they have compared, analyzing question, the same thing. Identify the main features, it's the same thing. Northwest, what kind of vocabulary you're going to use, how you're going to compare. You know, they are giving you some samples. This one, write the introduction, everything is there. And probably we don't even follow these. But I think, you know, you should, because other than that, what happens, sometimes it's difficult for them to distinguish between students who are getting good mark and who are getting less mark. And you must understand, other than that, you keep on writing something that doesn't end up. Okay, so they also have video. You know, they also have video. If you don't like to,
hello, I'm Jackie from IELTS Jackie.
if you don't want to read it,
welcome to this lesson on how to write a map essay.
Okay, so this is map. You see, so almost everything is there.
What we're looking for are the main features.
Okay, the same thing. If you think you are tired, you are lazy,
Will be the starting point for your map
just
essay.
go for that. I'm not saying that.
Want to add more detail
I'm
later.
not saying that it has to be Jackie IELTS. It could be anything. But keep on reading. Keep on reading, and you become better. Okay, then we're stopping here. So okay, so any questions? Anybody? Any questions? Any question?
Sir, when will the GMAT class will start?
Oh, GMAT. Definitely next week. Definitely.
Okay.
Definitely next week. Yeah, it could be on Sunday even. It could be Sunday.
Okay.
Sunday. Could be. That's grammar heavy. I think you might find it interesting. You'll learn new things. You know, the way you don't usually write. But even if you write, you'll be able to. Let's see whether it works. Sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. But I hope that you'll find it interesting.
Thank you, sir. Thank you so much for your precious time,
Okay,
sir.
okay,
And,
okay,
it
thank
was really
you.
helpful.
Thank you. You know, we just read it. We didn't do much, but at least we are doing something. You know, we are
Yeah, of
understanding,
course.
trying to understand. At least where information is there. So they're a good website. Why
Yeah.
don't you write the best website, the best 5 websites? Go there, check it out. Most of them are good. Most of them are good. And
Thank you.
and
Sir,
if you need more information, ask me. I'll be able to offer what? Notes. Sometimes it's better to read notes. The only biggest problem is they have so many links. You keep on reading and sometimes you get lost. That's the problem. That's any questions, anybody?
No, sir. May I have the permission to leave, sir?
Please.
Okay, sir.
Please.
Thank you, sir. Thank
Please,
you, everyone.
most welcome.
Assalamu alaikum, sir.
Walaikum assalam. Okay, fine. So, Suraya, are you there?
Thank you,
Suraya?
sir.
Are you there? So,
Yes.
So you like the classes? Does it help it? That's not the point, whether you like it or not, but does it help you in some way? Does it
Yes,
help you, Suraya? It might help you. Okay, so but you'll have to read. This is just a tip of the iceberg. We are just trying to get you into reading, and the rest you'll have to do that. Okay. So we are going to meet probably day after tomorrow. Day after tomorrow. Tomorrow we'll be having a GRE class. Let's see. Okay, hope you might enjoy that if you join in.
আর জিআরই গ্রামার ক্লাসটা কবে থেকে শুরু হবে?
Oh, that GMAT next week for sure. Next week. It could be from probably Sunday or let's see.
ও স্যার আপনি কি খুব বিজি?
Now?
না বিকালে স্যার মানে 5
Yes, at that time sometimes I'm preparing these materials, some of the materials. In the afternoon I'm kind of
আমার একটু সময় দরকার ছিল, মানে আমার তো
আচ্ছা দেখি ওইভাবে ওকে দরকার হলে আমি আলাদাভাবে টাইম রাখবো। তুমি সকালে একটা করে দিও, why don't you just send me a
সকালে কি আমি নোট দেব, এসএমএস দেব?
হ্যাঁ তুমি দিও, অসুবিধা নেই, আমার সময় থাকলে অবশ্যই সময় দেব। আচ্ছা
এমনি স্যার বাসা তো সবাই ভালো?
হ্যাঁ সবাই ভালো। ঠিক আছে, তুমি এই যে ক্লাসের পরে ফোন দিও, we can talk, no problem. ঠিক আছে, তাহলে আজকে এখানেই রাখি। হ্যাঁ, let's call it a day. Hopefully we'll be meeting. Okay, good night. Have a nice day. Okay, take care. Thank you.
Teachers.
Okay, thank you for your time.